Well, hello and welcome back. We're on episode 77. I'm Misheard with Misheard Song Lyrics, and we're going to do our first ever Shocking Blue Misheard song lyric. And I had learned a lot of new things at this episode. And the song that we're talking about is Venus. And the Misheard song lyric is, well, I'm your penis, I'm your fire, what's your desire? And of course, the correct lyrics is, well, I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, what's your desire? And I want to give a shout out thanks to this suggestion from listener Cindy F., who shared this Misheard song lyric after she saw my episode on Seattle King 5. She sent out a nice little message to me via our social media site from Instagram and said, how about this? And I'm going to do it. You know, the funny thing about this song is I only knew it from the cover of the 1986 Bananarama version of it, but this is actually the original. So we'll talk about the original and then talk about that Bananarama version in a bit. But did you know all about this original Venus was actually sung by a Dutch rock band called Shocking Blue. And Cindy even mentioned Shocking Blue, and that, again, the first time I've ever heard about it. They were formed in The Hague in 1967, and I was like, what is The Hague? Is that a special place? When I look it up on the internet, it says it's a city on the western coast of the Netherlands on the North Sea, and it's what they say, the administrative and royal capital of the Netherlands and the capital of the province of South Holland. It is also the seat of government of the Netherlands and hosts the International Court of Justice, one of the most important courts in the world. So now you know what The Hague means. They had a number of psychedelic rock hits, and I'm again talking about Shocking Blue, throughout what they had called the counterculture movement during the 1960s and early 1970s, including songs with Send Me a Postcard, Love Buzz, and of course Venus that we're talking about today. And of course, Venus was also their biggest hit and reached number one in the US Billboard Hot 100 and many other countries during that 1969 and 1970 era. The band sold about 13.5 million records by 1973 and then disbanded shortly after in 1974. So a little bit more about Shocking Blue. Now, Shocking Blue was founded in 1967 by The Motions band guitarist Robbie Van Leeuwen. Other members of the group at this time were Fred de Wilde, Klasse van der Waal, who actually was born from February 1st, 1949, and then passed away on the 12th of February. So just 2018. So about, 3 years ago, around the same time, because this is when I'm filming it, also in February. And Cor van der Beek, who also passed away on April 2nd back in 1998. So a lot of Dutch names. So sorry for those of my friends that are Dutch. I try my best. They had a minor hit in 1968 with a song called Lucy Brown is Back in Town. And then De Wilde left in 1968 and joined the Dutch Army. And Van Leeuwen was introduced to a female by the name of Mariska Veres, singing at the time with a club band. So this is where the female singer comes in. He persuaded her to take over the vocals, and the group recorded that worldwide hit with the song Venus, the original, which peaked at number 3 in the Netherlands in autumn of 1969. And like I said earlier, the song was released in the US and the United Kingdom at the end of the year and reached number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100 in February of 1970. I think that's their only US top song. It said on the internet that they sold about 350,000 copies in Germany and then topped the US chart for 3 weeks, and the first song from the Netherlands to do so, before the whole ABBA and all the different wonderful, blonde looking band mates, they were the first. It sold over 1 million copies there by January of 1970 and received a gold record awarded by the Recording Industry Association of America, or as I affectionately say, RIAA. Global sales exceeded about 5 million copies, which again is amazing because that's back then way before download. So people had to actually go to the store and purchase the vinyl, no cassette at this time, so vinyl records. So that's amazing. Back to the band, Klasse van der Waal left towards the end of 71, like I said earlier, following their first trip to Japan, which spawned a live album. And then in 1974, when Robbie Van Leeuwen quit, and Mariska Veres also left later that year, leading to the band's split. Vera's enjoyed a solo career apparently until 1982. She had singles like Take Me High from 1975 and Loving You in 1976 were mainly popular in her country of Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany, but she also released singles called Tell It Like It Is in 1975 and a cover version of Dusty Springfield's Little by Little, 1976, and a song called Too Young in 1978. The band Shocking Blue reformed with its most famous lineup back in 1979 and recorded a song called Louise as their first single since their breakup in 1974. So that's a long hiatus, 5 years. The song was never released, interestingly enough. They did, however, perform live in 1980 with earlier songs such as Venus and another song called Never Marry a Railroad Man. Interesting titles. They attempted another comeback in 1984 and recorded a song called The Jury and the Judge with I'm Hanging On to Love on the B-side in 1986. And then drummer Cor Vanderbeek died on April 2nd, 1998 at a young age of 49 in Rotterdam, Netherlands. And then female lead singer Mariska Veras died of gallbladder cancer on December 2nd back in 2006 at a young age of 59 in The Hague, Netherlands. So just sad, as well as bassist Klaas van der Wal died on February 12th, 2018 at age 69. So most of the original members have now passed, unfortunately. Now let's talk about the cover. So many have covered it, but the one that I'm very familiar with, especially I was a teenager, was back in 1986. It was the one done by Bananarama. Remember them? I love them. And they covered Venus. And it did so well for them that they hit #1 in the US and Australia, as well as reaching the UK top 10. They were at #8. Now let's talk a little about Bananarama, because I knew there were some famous things attached to these ladies, but now I know why. So Bananarama, for some of you youngins who don't know them, are an English pop girl group. So way before all the other girl groups like you know of, most of my listeners, which is, Spice Girls and a little bit after, all the Motown that we know. They were formed in London in 1979 by friends Sarah Dallin, Siobhan Fahey, and Karen Woodward. Now, Siobhan Fahey, let's start with her. She married a famous singer, songwriter, performer by the name of Dave Stewart of The Eurythmics in 1987, and the couple divorced in 1996. They actually have 2 sons, Samuel, born in 87, and the other son, Django James, born in 1991. Apparently they're in a band together as well, but that's the first connection of another famous 80s rock group. And then in 1990, Karen Woodward began dating Andrew Ridgeley. Remember that name? He's the other half of Wham with George Michael. And they lived with her son in a 15th century converted barn in Wadebridge in North Cornwall, is what I found on the internet. They ended their relationship in November 2017, but lo and behold, reunited in December 2019. I haven't seen anything otherwise, so I'm assuming they're still together. So now we got a connection with not only Eurythmics, but Wham. Another did you know is because of this song and their successes, both on the pop and dance charts, they actually landed them a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records for achieving the world's highest number of chart entries by an all-female group. That is interesting. And then between 1982 and 2009, they had 28 singles reach the top 50 and the UK single chart. So Bananarama, nothing to be sad about. They did quite well during their time. Some of the group's top UK 10 hits included I Ain't What You Do in 1982, Really Saying Something in 1982, Shy Boy 1982, and Na Na Hey Hey Kiss Him Goodbye 1983. Another one that I know very well, Cruel Summer in 1983. And then one I don't know about, maybe y'all do, it's called Robert De Niro's Waiting in 1984, and Love in the First Degree in 1987. In 1986, of course, they had their #1 US hit with their cover of Shocking Blue's Venus. In total, they had 11 singles reach the US Billboard Hot 100 between 1983 and 1988. So the 80s were very good to these ladies, including the top 10 hit, which I mentioned earlier that I knew, Cruel Summer. And I heard a rumor, I heard a rumor in 1987. They are also connected with the MTV-driven second British invasion of the US. So because of the music videos, and they look great on music videos, that definitely helped with their airplay. The music video for Venus also received heavy airplay on MTV in the US, and it featured them as a group in various costumes, including a devil, a French temptress, a vampire, and a Greek goddess. Unfortunately, no one was dressed as a phallic penis symbol. And then the video marked a pivotal shift towards a more glamorous and sexual image, which contrasted to what they were known for, which is their tomboyish style of their earlier work. So they really shifted everything. And then speaking of other covers, I guess Nirvana covered Venus. Actually, Nirvana covered the song Love Buzz as their debut single in 1988 and also appeared on their 1989 album Bleach. And then one thing that also was a particular thing to note of the song Venus is I knew it as a Bananarama, of course, cover. And now I know it's been originally done by Shocking Blue, but many of you that are old enough, is this song was used a lot in an ad back in 2000 by the Gillette Venus Shaver for women's legs. So someone made a lot of money. I'm hoping the states of Shocking Blue did, because it's being used multiple times, and did well in its cover. So there you go. Hopefully you learned something again. And another shout out from our listener, Cindy F., for sharing this with me. And again, if you have something like Cindy does and said, hey, have you done this before? I would love to hear from you. You can contact us at Misheard Songs. That's MISSHEARD songs @gmail.com, or you can send us a note in our Facebook or our Instagram or Twitter, and we will let you know if it's something we will do in the future. So keep listening and keep singing those songs wrong. Bye!